So the language, Portuguese. Eu falo português. You probably know what I said because maybe you got, Duolingo on your phone. That was the only thing I could say before my mission. I was gonna, whenever I got up to speak in church in my farewell talk, I guess, um, that was the only thing I could say in Portuguese. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna tell you, brothers and sisters, the only thing I know right now in Portuguese is that eu não falo português. Yeah, because it was very hard. I was studying on Duolingo, but it's very hard if you're not actually speaking with someone and hearing it constantly. So, yeah, the preparation for Portuguese is pretty difficult because I would say, this is definitely an opinion from me and many other missionaries and people that have talked to me about, Latin languages, but Portuguese is definitely probably one of the hardest languages in the world. And as a Latin language, it's harder than Spanish, just because of the types of conjugations that it has that you'll learn all about in the MTC. And if, beforehand, if you want to study, which you probably should. I probably should have studied more, right? But yeah, so it has lots of conjugations, and the pronunciation is a little difficult because it's kind of nasally. Like in English, we have the end of lots of words, Tion. It's like shun. And then in Portuguese, you switch that and you say som. But it's nasally, like comes out your nose kind of. So it's like som. Yeah. But I would not be too worried. As you have faith and as you really study the language and be proactive, you'll definitely learn it. I guess that's how I learned Portuguese. Like I mentioned, previously in another section, I talked about, how I had a Brazilian companion and how you probably will end up with a Brazilian companion because Brazil is actually becoming more self-sufficient as far as its missionaries go. They're bringing more missionaries to the table every day because it's, Brazil baptizes a lot of people. So yeah, with your probable Brazilian companion, you will have the opportunity to learn in a very, I guess, intricate manner. I would say as you learn from your companion, you need to be proactive because it's likely that they don't know, the rules of Portuguese that you learned in the MTC. You'll learn things like slam the ram. You'll hear about that. I would even write that down, slam the ram. And you tell your MTC professor that you're going to slam the ram, and he'll be like, really? You're going to slam the ram? Yeah, that's one of the rules you'll learn about. There's some other rules, about infinitives, the subjunctive tense. Be ready to study that. That's special. Yeah, the subjunctive tense, when you're like expressing uncertainty. It's like saying may the force be with you in English is a lot different, expressed a lot different in Portuguese, just because they actually have a special way of conjugating their verbs to make you say may something be with you, I guess. But yeah, you'll hear all about it. So that's what I say. Be proactive. I am glad I was proactive. My first companion, Elder Schellenberg, he didn't know the rules of Portuguese, but I was learning it through learning the rules because that's kind of how you start learning it. And so, yeah, I was kind of just proactive. I'd be like, hey, does this sound right? As I'm studying the rule in my language study, I'll be studying the rule and say something. And he'll be like, yeah, that sounds right. That's right. Or maybe you want to say this. And so, yeah, that'll help you. Probably won't help you a whole lot, just trying to explain to him or her, the rules and stuff. But as you hear them talk and as you kind of, get used to using those tenses, those verb tenses, you'll definitely feel a lot more comfortable in the language. And so it's not necessarily just about, studying, huge vocab lists. It's really paying attention to, how the grammar ties in to their verb usage. That's something to pay attention to for sure. Many missionaries, and I'm sure you're probably asking, maybe you're not here with me, but maybe you want to ask me, how long did it take you, Josh, to learn Portuguese? That's very relative because even today I'm taking a Portuguese 321 here at BYU, and even till today I'm learning so much. So yeah, going to probably start understanding pretty well. I guess if I was to start naming it in levels, you'll probably understand pretty well after your first couple transfers. After about 2 to 3 months, you'll understand pretty well, pretty decently. Even in the first 2 weeks, you'll realize little progressions that you'll make. It'll be funny because you have district meetings every week. We have district meetings every week. So maybe in a district meeting, your first district meeting, you'll hear everyone speaking Portuguese and you'll be like super confused. And then 3 weeks from there, you'll hear those same missionaries that you had heard like 3 weeks previously talking to you, and you'll understand them better, and you'll be like, whoa. It's so funny because whenever I went back to my first area, to kind of like talk with some of the members and stuff, I was hearing them talk and I was like, are you the same person? Because I actually understood them so much different after I'd actually gotten more comfortable in the language. So yeah, between 6 to 12 weeks, you'll be pretty good at understanding. You'll be speaking better. Between 4 and 6 months, you'll be speaking pretty well. When you're a year into the mission, you'll be dreaming in Portuguese, probably in the MTC, maybe, I don't know. But once you're a year into the mission, you'll be dreaming, eating, sleeping, walking, because you don't drive cars. I was going to say driving, but you'll be doing everything in Portuguese. You'll be really good. Will you make mistakes? Probably. You'll probably be corrected still. You'll probably still have some form of a learning curve, but you'll definitely be fluent, and you'll have opportunities to grow and progress. So don't take your language study for granted. You definitely need to take that time, those 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure it's 30 minutes in the Recife mission. Yeah, use that 30 minutes to really study the language faithfully, and you'll get it down. Read the Book of Mormon in your mission language. When you first get there, my mission president, he told us to read it in our native language at first, just to kind of feel the spirit, because, your first couple weeks down there and you're reading everything in Portuguese and you don't understand it, how are you having spiritual experiences? It's kind of hard, So I would suggest, once you're getting it more into the language, really study the Book of Mormon, because you'll master the language. The language in the Book of Mormon is way different than their like colloquial speech. As you'll use, like your these and thys, but translated to Portuguese, which are a little more complicated. But you'll use those, and so you probably won't be using those with other people outside of the Book of Mormon, telling them that thine arm has been cut. I don't know. So yeah, I would definitely use your language study though. Yeah, so make sure you do that. But Portuguese is awesome. I love the language of Portuguese. I left my mission just loving it. I'm taking this class, and it's never going to die with me. So just have that attitude. Just be like, I love it. I want to learn it. There's a lot of people that will benefit by my usage of this language. And so the Lord will definitely consecrate your efforts. He'll just be like, whoa, okay, X person, your skills are subpar, but because of your faith, I'm going to help you become par, and you're going to be great. Just slay it. So yeah, the language is great. Other things that you could practice, though, before you get into the MTC are praying. You can probably have good opportunities to study up on prayer language and whatnot. It's different. You kind of pray in a language that's seen a little more in the Book of Mormon. You won't necessarily use everything, but you'll use different kinds of tenses. But it's good to practice praying. I think that's the first thing you should do, honestly. Just start praying in Portuguese. Because as you start praying in Portuguese, the Lord will see your efforts, that, whoa, he's praying to me. He's trying to speak to me in this language. I'm going to help him speak it even better because I want him to have better communication with me, or her in that case. So yeah, definitely learn how to pray in Portuguese. I won't necessarily give you a lesson now, but I'm sure, you could even try to contact me maybe, and we'll talk about it.